Hey friends, welcome to the Johnson City Living Podcast, where we learn about the people, places, events, and flavors that make Johnson City just a lovely place to live. I'm your host, Colin Johnson, with the Colin and Carly Group and Keller Realty. If you're interested in buying or selling a home in the area, or if you're looking at investing in a rental property, give us a call at 423-930-8003, and we will look forward to helping you. Now, let's get to today's episode. Hey friends, welcome to the Johnson City Living Podcast, where we learn about the people, places, events, and flavors that make Johnson City a lovely place to live. I'm your host, Colin Johnson, with the Colin and Carly Group and Keller Realty. It is a beautiful, coming up on fall day here in Johnson City. I'm here with Dimitri and Gwen.
Stoilov.
That's a mouthful.
It's a tricky one.
Yeah, with Ridgeline Construction. And I'm super excited to learn how to say your last name and learn about your business. So say your last name one more time for me.
Last name is Stoilov.
Stoilov.
Yeah.
Gotcha. And you don't sound Russian, but it kind of feels that way.
My mom's actually from Siberia.
Siberia.
So she's Russian, yeah. And
wow.
I was born in Bulgaria. My dad's from Bulgaria.
Look at that.
So then we moved out here when I was a kid.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So straight from Bulgaria to East Tennessee. Is that the
storyline? We bounced around a little bit.
Bounced around a little bit? Okay.
Salt Lake City, Utah, we lived in for a little bit. And then finally my dad's job brought us to Illinois.
Nice. He's lived in Salt Lake for a while.
Yeah.
That's our producer. If you don't know Mitch, you're missing out. And then, so you guys met where?
We met in Crystal Lake, Illinois.
Crystal Lake. Now, were you from there? Where were you born?
Born and raised in Crystal Lake, Illinois.
Crystal
It's a
Lake.
northwest suburb of Chicago.
Okay.
About an hour south of the Wisconsin border.
Okay.
And yeah, we met.
We through youth group. We were at church, youth
We were teeny boppers.
Nice.
And yeah.
You were 15.
I was 15.
Yeah.
And
But you're like, in 10 years, I'm going to marry you. Something like that.
it was less
pretty
than 10. It was pretty, yeah. We got married when I was 20. So
Nice.
5 years later.
So 5 years later.
We were
Good.
engaged for 2 years.
Yeah.
And
We were
parents made us wait.
young. We were young.
That's awesome.
But yeah.
So any advice for our listeners who are in their 20s thinking about getting married?
Pray and ask Jesus if it's the right person.
Amen.
Yeah.
Because that's the only way we know.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think without him, it's hard. Marriage is hard. So you got you're going to have battles, and the devil wants to break you up. And so you got to have him to hold you together.
Yeah.
Well, and it's actually kind of ironic with God's sense of humor is that I made a promise to God, right? As we know how that goes. Mm-hmm. I said, you know what, God, I'm not dating anymore. I'm going to focus on you. And a month later, I met my wife.
Yeah.
But I'm like, I'm focusing on you. I'm not going to worry about girlfriends or dating or any of that. Just scratch that out of my life for right now.
That's cool.
And then a month later, we're together.
I was reading in Samuel this morning and how Hannah had, this is off topic, people, but how she had promised if the Lord would give her a child that she would, basically devote him to the Lord. And so this morning I was actually like, this is crazy. But she weaned her son. She said, I'm going to wean him, and then I'll turn him over to the Lord, and took him to the temple and turn him over to Eli. And I'm going, he's got to be like 3, maybe, 2 or 3. And they're saying, hey, here you go. And so it was just really amazing that she would have that faith to turn her son, the only one she's got, over to. It was just beautiful. And so it's kind of like Jesus, how he came to save us too. So anyway, let's talk about, so you guys met in Crystal Lake. You got married, and then how did you get to East Tennessee? Tell us about that story.
So I've been working, even at the time when we started dating, I was already working in construction, and I was in the trades in Illinois as well, and that's how we kind of made our livelihood, was with me working out there. And then I decided to start up my own company at the age of 21 in Illinois.
Nice.
And we did that, and it took off great, and we were going, everything seemed like it was going really well, and we bought a house, we had started having kids, and we just felt like, man, there's got to be something a little bit more to life than just chasing the American dream and getting after it, doing the rat race, as they say.
Race.
So and we felt ourselves being a part of that.
Okay.
So when COVID hit, and I know for a lot of people it was a very tough time in their life, but it was eye-opening to us.
Yeah.
It's like, and even through COVID, I mean, we were slammed with work. God was more than gracious with us.
Yeah.
and just we're like, you know what, let's just go and travel for a little bit. We got time right now. Let's travel. Even so, we worked it into our work schedule and started traveling with the idea of possibly moving.
Right.
And that's how we stumbled upon Tennessee. We came, her father's, who's also a tradesman, and he actually works for the company now. His name is Chris, and it's like, well, I don't want to move too far. Let's go check out Tennessee. So we did. We came here, started checking it out, and before you know it, man, we really like it down here.
Interesting. So you went, I mean, like, because Tennessee's a big state, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You could be Nashville, everybody's going there, Knoxville, Memphis. I mean, but you chose East Tennessee. Anything specific? You just drove through here and you're like, we like.
Yeah, so we knew we didn't want Nashville just because the landscape is very similar to where we're from. Like, it's flat, it's, whatever, a city.
Yeah.
We wanted small town for our kids to grow up in.
Mm-hmm.
We wanted somewhere where they could be a little bit more wild and free.
Mm-hmm.
And so we had visited Knoxville before because a friend of ours moved there and still felt too big. So we just were like, let's keep going east and see what happens. And so we drove through Jonesboro, actually, with my parents.
My original hometown.
Yes, and we were like, okay, this is cool. Let's keep going. And then we drove through Johnson City, and we ended up camping at the Nolchucky Gorge.
Oh, yeah.
Irwin. And I was like, I don't ever want to leave this place. It is incredible. It's so beautiful and peaceful.
Her hippie self came out.
Oh my gosh, I was like, yes, meditating by the river. Like, this is so awesome.
Flowers in her hair, dancing.
Yes, long dress.
Barefoot on the beach. Like,
That's
it was
right, there
by
you
the
go.
river. It was so good.
And Willie Nelson.
Yeah, it was just so good. And so it felt really right. And we drove through Irwin the next day. And you actually were like, this is what I really envisioned.
Yeah, so God's kind of given me visions throughout my life. I actually saw my wife in a vision before we ever even got married. I was probably 7, 8 years old, and I saw her in a vision.
How cool is that?
Me.
It's wild.
And it's almost like deja vu, but I don't necessarily believe that it is deja vu. But so when I saw her and then it happened at that moment, I'm like, wait a minute, this has happened before. And I was able to actually predict to my wife what she was about to do. And she looked at me shocked.
Very strange.
And I'm like, oh my God, this is a vision from God.
And then you remembered it from 7 or 8 years old.
Yeah, well, I had completely forgotten
that.
about it until that moment. And
right.
then it hit me that I'm like, oh my God, I've seen this before.
Yeah.
And a similar thing happened with Irwin.
Mm-hmm.
There's a building, a brick building there. And when I saw it, I lit up like a Christmas tree because I'm like, oh my God, I've seen this building. I've seen this. I've seen what. I tried to get the building. I haven't gotten the building yet, but maybe.
I know a guy that can help with that.
Yeah.
That's right. Maybe he'll listen to the podcast and say, hell, you know what? I had to sell my building tonight.
That's right.
Ridgeline, to them Ridgeline boys.
Yeah. But it was wild. I remember that moment we drove through Main Street and he was like, this is
that
it.
building.
That is what I
How cool is
envisioned.
that?
Yeah.
I mean, that gives you so much peace and confirmation. You're like, we are right where we need to be.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because we're following the Lord. And,
Yep.
You know, and I think a lot of people don't do that, right? We all kind of just do our own thing sometimes and hope it turns out.
Yeah.
Well,
Okay.
people, I feel like people are scared to step out of that comfort
Oh, I
zone.
was scared even though I knew the Lord was saying this.
Yeah.
I have only ever known Chicago. And so I always pictured us staying there and raising
Irwin,
our kids
in
there.
Chicago, they're pretty close to being the same.
They're night and day. Night and day.
Like, you guys have 2 million people. Irwin's got 2 people.
Oh my gosh.
Of course, you're here, so
Literally.
the town's shut down right now.
It was absolutely wild how heavily populated it is where I grew up, and like how I never really realized that till I left, and I was like, oh my gosh, there are so many people there.
Right.
And it's constant. Like, you know, anyway, so.
And I was just walking to get coffee, and I was thinking about like how like laid back Johnson City is, because
Yeah.
I ran it. I saw 2 people. I said good morning to both of them. They said good morning, but I just saw 2 people when I walked 2 blocks. You know, and you're like, there's not a lot of people coming down here. And then I saw you guys, and I was like,
Oh,
hey, what's up? It was cool.
Yeah.
So, that's awesome. Okay, so Johnson City living. What do you love about Johnson City? And Irwin, you can throw that.
Oh man, yeah, you could throw that in. He says, "No, we
Secondarily, I mean, it's Johnson. I'm just kidding.
No, it's all.
So Johnson City is very unique in its own way,
Mm-hmm.
and obviously in construction, you got to know where your target marketing is,
Yeah.
right? So immediately, even though we settled down in the small town, I'm like, all right, we got to start branching out. We got to go to the cities where there's
To the big city of Johnson
yeah,
City.
yeah, so yeah, to the big city of Johnson
Big
City. And I'm like, we got to branch out. We got to start. And we came out and started checking out Johnson City. I'm like, man, this is a small city, but there's a lot going on, a lot
A
happening.
lot of opportunity here.
A lot of opportunity,
Yes.
yep.
A lot of
So-
people moving to the area, wanting to renovate.
Yeah, for you guys,
Yeah.
lots of cash-rich people. Like, I mean, selling their place in Chicago for
Right.
$1 million and coming down here and buying something for $500.
Yeah.
And they've still got a lot of cash to turn the 500 house into whatever they want.
Yeah, and really take that house and make it their home.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which is kind of why we make such a good team is I'm always like, okay, the house is just a roof and walls and windows and doors and that's about it.
Right.
And she's like, no, we need to make this at home. They
At
gotta
home.
feel at home. It's gotta be a reflection of them when people walk into.
Yeah,
the
for
house.
sure.
So,
For sure. I love it. So you love Johnson City because it's got a lot of opportunity. Gwen, what do you love about Johnson City?
I love that it's slow.
Yeah.
I love that. I love that you can feel like you know people and that people are kind.
Yes.
Yeah, I just feel like the surrounding area, there's just so much, there's opportunity for work, but there's also so much opportunity to rest
Right.
and explore. And I feel like that's something that's very different than the way I grew up. And I love it. I love it for our kids. I love it for us. It's just like you can work hard, but you can play hard.
Yes.
And
And I think the number one thing everybody says is the people here are so sweet and kind and
Yeah.
loving. And I feel like that's because, the Lord's here, and a lot of us, I'd say a majority of the population, although statistics would say not, but the majority is believers and we love each other, right? And we want to love our neighbors and new people coming in and just take good care of them. And I think that spirit kind of continues to come through. And so if you're moving here, continue to promote that. And we
Yeah.
don't want to lose that feeling where we just love and take care of each other.
yeah.
And then to sum it up in one word, I would say simplicity.
Simplicity.
Yeah, there's just simplicity, and with simplicity comes. I mean,
I
some
love it.
people might see that as a negative, but
No, I think it's great. I hadn't heard that. So that's awesome.
yeah, I would
Yeah.
say it's very simple.
And coming from a contractor who works with the Johnson City inspectors, that's pretty cool that you say simplicity.
Yeah.
It is way simpler than where we're from.
Yeah,
See,
yeah, we're-
that's good. If you're
Yeah.
listening and you're a contractor
Yeah.
or a builder,
Yeah.
you could be working in Chicago and it could take
Yeah.
months to get up.
go work in Chicago.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding. I welcome the competition.
That's right. All right, let's go back because you had a thriving business in Chicago.
Yeah.
And you shut that down to move to East Tennessee. How was talk to me about the fear and making the jump, because there might be some people who are thinking about,
Yeah.
oh, I've got a thriving business somewhere. Johnson City seems awesome, and it is. So you should move here and let me help you find a house. But yeah, shameless plug.
Yeah.
But it takes a leap of faith to do it, and so for
sure.
you to go to a whole new market, no family, no business there already.
Yeah, nothing. We came with. I mean, we had the vans and the tools, so that was kind of a big.
Yeah, that's a
Big
big start.
upside.
right? And you knew what you were doing. It's not
Yeah.
like you're
Right.
just starting. You're not
Right.
watching YouTube videos all the way
Right.
down from.
And
Illinois.
I had guys working for me in Illinois, and I actually just sat them all down and kind of told them where I'm like, hey, don't freak out. I'm just gonna vomit some ideas at you. I just want to get your guys' opinions, and told them that I'm thinking about moving. And obviously, they kind of got a little bit of a shock factor because
Sure.
this is their jobs. And,
Right.
But I made it an open invitation. So I said, hey guys, you guys, for most of you guys are single, not married. You got nothing really holding you into
Yeah.
Illinois. Let's just take the company and move it down to Tennessee. And most of the crew came down with us. They
That's
actually
awesome.
fired up over it and then decided to pack up and move down with us.
Sweet. So you
So-
guys had like a caravan.
Pretty much, yeah. We
Yeah.
brought 10
We
people
brought
with
10
us.
people.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So
Headed to the promised land.
that's right. That's
Honestly,
right.
it felt like that. And we traveled in an RV and it was just like covered wagon vibes, and I was like, okay, we're just pilgriming, and
Yeah.
it's great.
Modern day
You're like, it's going to be really good or it's going to go really bad.
Yeah. You know, and
Thankfully,
we're
it went
not
really good.
Yeah.
we're not really trendy. Like, we don't follow trends, but we did follow the buy the RV and live in an RV trend.
Yes,
Nice.
we
I
did.
got some friends who are doing that right now.
We did.
Got my house under contract, though, so hopefully they'll get in there quickly.
Yeah.
So
It's not for everybody.
how long ago was that? How long have you been in East Tennessee?
We moved and we left Illinois on November 21st, 2021,
2021.
which is like really wild because that was
Yeah,
a
21's
number
kind of
thing.
my number.
It was accidental. There's always been weird things with 21 in our life, like the number.
Mm-hmm.
And then we left on November 21st, 2021. And we were like, oh, that's weird. We didn't plan that. Like, this is cool.
But
Yeah.
it just kind of shows up again.
Yeah.
over and over.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was
His birthday, our wedding anniversary. There's just like different things.
Yeah, my
But-
birthday, and then like my wife said, the wedding anniversary. Then we have. I started the company when I was 21.
Yeah, just strange.
And then
Coincidental. I don't know.
to add to that, when we were heading back, we were traveling, and the weather was bad, so we ended up like, you know what? Let's just cut our trip short, and we headed back, and we actually got back into Irwin, December 21st.
Yeah.
Oh.
Once again, not
Yeah.
realizing it till we're there, like, oh my god, this is
Wild.
getting a little out of control.
Yeah.
That's cool. Any of your kids born on the 21st of a month? Or
Not
anything?
yet, but you
Hey,
never know.
there you go.
She's due
Yeah,
on
her
the
due date.
23rd of
Yeah, her due
December,
date.
so we'll see if she's follows suit.
That's awesome.
But anyway, we got sidetracked. We
Yeah.
left Illinois. We traveled for a month just to rest and have some family time. And then, yeah, we got here December of 2021.
And just hit the ground running.
Mm-hmm.
All
We
right.
did, and it was wild.
Yeah.
We had like backup plans to like renovate another RV and like do these different things just in case there was no work.
Yeah, I was gonna put the guys to work for. I mean, we sold our house. We did pretty good with our house, selling our house in Illinois,
Like everybody in America.
like everybody, right?
Yeah.
And so I'm like, you know what?
I got a little cash
Let's
in the bank.
just buy a few RVs, and we'll just tear them down and make some custom builds out of them and put them up for sale just to keep the guys busy.
Yeah.
Right.
And those 2 RVs are still sitting in my yard. We haven't touched them.
It took off so fast.
I bet Gwen loves that.
I
Yeah,
mean,
well, we're getting ready to. They're gonna go. They're gonna go. But
My wife's like, "Are you going to do anything with that?" You
Yeah.
know, just little stuff up around the house. I'm like, "Yes."
no, she's pretty gracious with me.
I try.
Because the intention was good, right? We were gonna
yeah.
That's right.
do something,
Yeah.
use it as a team building.
One of my friends tells me the road to hell is paved with good intentions.
There you go. There you go. No. So yeah, it took off
Shoot,
really
that's
quick.
A
and-
T-shirt.
That's
Yeah.
right. Yeah. So then it took off. So talk about Ridgeline. What do you guys specialize in? What do you like to do? What if our listeners are like, "Hey, I've got a broken windows." I mean, Tell me what all you like to do.
Yeah, so
Specialize. What do you feel best at?
We are a contracting firm in a sense that does small commercial and residential renovations, and we do a little bit of everything, but we do a lot of everything. We do kitchens, bathrooms, basements, house additions, carports, garages, and then for residential, a lot of the stuff we do for commercial, a lot of the stuff we do is just office builds and restructuring the real estate to where it accommodates people that are buying or renting the space.
Like renting the space.
Yeah.
out.
Yeah. So mostly renovating. We're not into new construction as much yet. But yeah, we like to walk into a space and visualize how it can be both beautiful and functional for the owner of the property
Mhm.
in whatever way that they use it.
Now, are you involved as well, like in that part of it?
Yeah, so with the baby coming, it's kind of like a toss-up of what we're going to do in the future, but I've done a lot of design with like selecting materials and tiles and all that kind of thing to make the space cohesive with the style of the home.
And with the people, yeah.
Yeah, and
It's
with
their
the
vibe.
people,
Yeah.
totally. So our clients really enjoy that piece. And he's super talented, like visually and spatially, to see, okay, if we can put a second bathroom here and that'll add this value to the home and stuff like that. So, yeah.
Just thinking outside the box, you know,
Yeah.
and the older the house, the more of a challenge it brings. And to be honest, that's kind of where where we differ from other contractors even in Illinois, they had homes that were very old, and you had to get creative on how to create the space that they
Sure.
want
Yeah.
in the house. And it just kind of came naturally to me. I was able to see it long before, I set foot in there. I saw the space, and I'm like, okay, I see what you're trying to do, and this is how we're going to achieve that.
Yeah, I think not a lot of people can do that, and so that's great that you can. I like to be able to say, oh, we could add this over here, you could figure this out. I think my brain works like that a little bit, and then my wife Carly, she's got the design feel like you do, so it's fun to turn something that isn't exactly the way they want it into something that's really cool. So that's awesome. So you said you're not into new construction yet, but maybe.
Yeah, I mean, we do the additions is obviously kind of like a little bit of more of a new construction. You're just tying into the old, but we don't do custom builds or anything like that from the ground up, and that's just I don't feel like our team's ready for something like that yet. We're in that sweet spot where we can take on a little bit of a bigger job because we have, depending on the jobs that we have, either 2 crews of 3 or 3 crews of 2, but we can't all come together if we take on a bigger job. So we've done some jobs that we've put all 6 guys together on a job, and it's worked out well. So maybe as we keep adding to the team, we'll try to take on some bigger projects and make it happen.
Yeah,
I like it. Let's talk about people who are, a lot of people are buying houses and renovating. So let's talk about a kitchen renovation timeline for that. So they're like a realistic timeline. Obviously, you can spend $20,000 maybe, or $120,000.
Right.
You can spend as much as you want, but talk about that timeline for like a kitchen reno for somebody and how you guys work through that.
Yeah, so I would say on our average for like a kitchen remodel would be about 4 to 5 weeks.
Okay.
From start to finish.
That's good.
Yeah, all of our guys hustle. We come from an area where you have to perform, and you got to perform well and fast.
And I think that's a little bit of an advantage for you here.
It is definitely something. The work ethic up north is something that we took away. Really strong. My dad, like he said, who works with us, has taught us that. So, I would say 4 to 5 weeks. It depends a lot on the space. Depends on what you're doing.
Sure.
You're fully changing a layout, moving the range, moving the plumbing. Obviously, it takes longer, but
yeah.
And
and a lot of times with even like pricing these projects out and stuff, the customers, they know what they want, but they have no idea of how to gauge how much something like that's going to cost.
Right.
Yeah, that's something we come across often.
Yeah, and they're like, well, this one's 50,000, and this one's 60, and and they're like, oh, I thought that was like 15.
Yeah, well, Pinterest is our worst enemy.
Yes,
because everyone sees the custom, stunning $80,000 kitchen, and they're like, I want this, and I'm like, what's your budget?
Well, that's right. You can have it.
That's a lot of money.
Just stroke a check.
Yeah.
One thing I did actually notice in the area is people are hesitant to give a budget in here. Like in Illinois, we never really, you ask for a budget, like, 100,000 or 50,000, whatever it may be.
Yeah.
And here it's like, well, they're a little.
Let me run some numbers.
Yeah.
Could be a little bit, we may get into some stuff. That's what you hear. Like, who knows when we tear down this or what's behind the walls.
Yeah.
We may have to move plumbing, and that could be thousands of dollars.
Right. And so when we have that conversation and that sense that that's kind of a little bit of a touchy subject for the customer, we back off on like trying to get something out of it. At that point, we just try to capture their vision as best as we can and try to give them what we can for roughly an area of where they can actually afford it.
I think a really good starting point, and we talk to our clients about this too, is what are you willing to invest in this property? What makes sense? What number makes sense? How much is the house worth now?
Thank you.
How much can it possibly be worth after this?
So we're going to get a return on the investment.
Yes. Yeah. We're very investment driven. Like, we want to help our clients make sure they're getting the most out of that, because it's one of your biggest investments. It's your home or your business space. So I would say if you're looking to do a remodel, definitely be ready with a budget and think about how it's going to benefit you long term.
Yeah, and sometimes it doesn't make sense, and we've had customers
Yeah.
like that you know they wanna do this bathroom, and it's gonna cost $25,000 for this bathroom, but they're also conscious about like, hey, we want to get a return on this. I mean, I've said to the customer, I'm like, you know what, with investing that much money into just this, you're not gonna see it. Now, if that's something that you want to enjoy it, it's
Right, if
for
you're going
you,
to be here,
it would
that's
make
what I tell
sense.
people. If you're going, it depends on how long you're going to be there.
Right.
Yeah.
What's frustrating is for some people is they'll like, I'll say, well, the kitchen needs work and and they'll fix it up. Then they'll come call me back and they're like, well, we wish we had done the kitchen like 5 years ago so we can enjoy it instead of selling it now. You know, we'll fix up stuff to sell the houses, and that gets frustrating for them. But yeah, I think that's wise that you're saying, hey, it's a $5,000 bathroom, 10,000 goes in. That's great. Whatever, you know, you're fine. But if anything over 10, you're not going to see a great return. But there's a usage enjoyment factor there, and you're going to be there 5 or 10 years and enjoy your $20,000 bathroom with all those cool jets and all that light.
Yeah,
and you know, there's
shower.
I heard this from a realtor. I don't know how true this is, but like on average, I guess from what I was told, that a bathroom brings in about $7,000 of equity into a house, roughly.
Yeah, I think that's a hard number to say.
Yeah, that's kind of what I figured.
I think so. Return on investment, I will say you can about 95% of what you put in on your kitchen, you're going to get back when we sell it.
95.
Wow. Yeah, kitchen, because that's the number one spot. If you add on a bedroom, that's huge. Adding in a bath is huge. Redoing baths are great. I mean, because that's where you do a lot of the daily stuff, and so if it's not nice, people are just kind of like, it's a turn off for the house, you know.
Yeah.
And they walk in on an unfinished bathroom, and they're looking at it and going, that could be $20,000. Where really, if you just put in a new vanity, a new tile, and it's not going to cost you that much, but you can do some stuff to refresh it as opposed to totally renovate it.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's great. I love that you're, helping people make good decisions and treating them. I mean, it's kind of like the golden rule: treat them like you want to be treated.
Totally,
right? Yeah.
And we lived in we flipped a house we lived in Chicago, and it took 3 years, and we had 2 very small children.
Yeah.
So it was rough. We made money, which is great, but I think that gives me in particular a lot of empathy for people.
For sure.
We are going into your space. We are invading your space. We are demolishing your space.
You're eating at the Olive Garden for the next month or whatever.
We're going to make it look way better and function way better, but it is very invasive. And I'll even tell clients, like, we understand. And here are some tips for what to do when you don't have a kitchen or whatever.
And it doesn't help that we come in charging either.
No.
Yeah.
We're coming in.
We're coming in like, guns blazing, let's go.
Yeah.
So 4 to 5 weeks on a kitchen, which is, I think, great. It took us a while longer than that. What about a bathroom? Say somebody's wanting to redo their master bathroom. How long is that going to take, ballpark?
So a master, is going to be kind of hard to say because a master bathroom usually implies it's a little bit of a bigger one.
Right.
But
let's say just a general shower, commode, vanity, regular bathroom. Nothing.
Yeah. So a bathroom, let's say 5 by 10 is about 3 weeks.
Okay.
About 3 weeks to get in and out of there.
Gotcha.
It's very tough.
But it could go all over the place.
It could.
You got plumbing. And
it also depends on how much custom work they want.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like if it's just taken, pretty much same layout, you gut it, it's super outdated, walls are pink, you want to get rid of that.
Yeah.
Gut it to the studs and put in a new bathroom. It's usually about 3 to 4 weeks.
Yeah.
Chip and Joanna do it in about an hour on TV. So
they are.
You guys are a little slow.
They are next level.
So. Yeah. Well. Yeah.
They got a lot of good people on their team.
I told you he's gonna bring Chip and Joanna.
They got a big old crew.
I'm like, he's gonna bring up Chip and I have nothing in common. Nothing.
I disagree.
Well, I think
you guys
love the Lord. You're contractors, family men. I think you got a lot going.
Yeah, you do. You do demo a little bit.
That's right. Demo. Do you have a demo day T-shirt? You're wearing one right now. Your best, aren't you?
Chip does it up for TV. Chip does it up with demo.
He acts a little silly.
Dimitri shakes his head every time he sees it.
Like, why would he just rip?
Nobody demos that. Right, They got to keep it clean.
You know what? He's a smart guy.
Yeah.
He's putting on. He's doing a nice show by throwing hammers through walls.
That's right.
And everybody, you know what? Everybody that ever has the opportunity to do some demo, that is what they do. They take a sledgehammer and they go to town.
Trash it.
Just
they're like, HDTV will pay for it. It'll be
Good
good.
emotional release, I guess.
So no, they have been an inspiration to us for sure.
For sure. They're just really good people.
What do you feel like your specialty is? What are you guys the best at? Like if they said, hey, what's the one thing Ridgeline's known for?
First thing that comes to mind is I would say our layouts. We get pretty creative when it comes to doing layouts and
Like laying
figuring
out the
stuff
space.
out. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I actually go through and tape off all the rooms for the customers.
Oh, fun. So I can walk through.
So they can sleep on it too. So they can
Yeah.
get a chance after we leave. They can think about it. And I tell them, hey, change if you want to just pull some tape up and change it up.
Right.
'Cause
Well,
we do
easier
give
now than when they're 2x4
Yeah.
stuff.
Right. So if you think like this is not going to work for you, it's very seldom that I have customers pull up tape because I put a lot of thought into it.
Yeah.
But every now and again they'll be like, oh yeah, you know what? Let's move the door over here.
Right. Like let's
Yeah.
let it swing this way versus that
Yeah.
way.
So we do a real good job, I feel, on
Laying out space.
making sure we use every square inch of that
Yeah.
building.
Yeah. For sure. I agree. I also feel like the way that we collaborate with our clients from the time that they first call
Mhm.
to the end of a project is unique. Because like I said, we've been through it. We know what it's like. And we want to, we want to see their money go the farthest that it can. So yeah, we try to make our clients feel really heard, feel a part of the process, and make it just a really conversational, collaborative effort.
Mm-hmm.
So you're like you're taking care of the client, and then Dimitri's just in there cleaning house and blowing up stuff and ripping out things and putting in new stuff, and you're going, it's going to be okay.
Yeah.
So we
You empathize with them. You're like, I know he's just going super fast.
Yeah.
He likes to rip out stuff, and it'll be good. I
Yeah.
promise.
And I'm actually a little bit socially awkward at work too. So we have a project manager, and
We do. We have a great team.
He
great.
actually works with the
Talk to
customers.
Steve. Don't talk to Dimitri.
We
Yeah.
divert everyone to Cliff.
Yeah.
Yeah, we do have a really great team
That's funny.
of people. But yeah, I would say I think people really trust you when they see you because you know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
And you've done it a lot. And so,
Yeah. But sometimes it's tough to explain.
sure.
Right.
So then
Sure.
I can come off a little socially awkward.
Like, well, how do I
Or you're
explain
mansplaining
this
it.
to a common civilian
Yeah.
who doesn't know the lingo?
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
How did you get into contracting?
It's
Was it a family thing?
No.
it wasn't a family thing. My dad's a mechanic, and then he's a truck driver. He was a truck driver for most of his life, and he's still alive. That sounded like I'm most
Like he was.
No, he's still driving. He's still out on the road.
Hey, Dad.
Hey, Dad.
Hopefully he's listening to the podcast.
Yeah.
Keep on trucking.
Yeah.
Stop
right.
in East Tennessee.
And sorry, I just totally lost track.
Where you came from in your contracting.
How did you get
Oh,
into it?
okay. So
Yeah.
I started it was just small stuff in like middle school. Would take wood shop, and
Oh, yeah.
I excelled in that stuff pretty well.
Carpentry stuff.
Yeah.
I
Oh,
just
yeah.
love the smell of wood
Oh,
Mhm.
it's,
and the sawdust.
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh.
it's very grounding, I think,
Yeah.
especially for men. There's
It's-
something about it, the physicality of it, it just makes you feel good.
Well, yeah, you feel like a man. You're creating something.
That's
You're,
right.
uh,
And
you're
it's,
building
you
something.
see the result of it.
Yeah.
Like,
And then we bring it to our wives, and we're like,
Yeah.
look, don't you think? And they're like,
wow.
and you guys validate it.
What took you so long?
Good job, right? That's really nice. And it could have been done 30
Yeah.
years ago. Thanks.
Yeah.
But you were young. And
I was young. I was very young.
Yeah.
So at the age of 14, I got this bright idea to just gut my room.
Like your own
my
room
own
in your
room.
house?
bedroom.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I did. I didn't ask for permission.
Oh, Lord.
I just took all my furniture out there and started gutting. Because I didn't have, my switch in the room would activate a lampshade, and when I didn't have lighting in there.
Oh, gotcha.
So I
You're like, I want overhead lights.
want
wanted a
lights.
ceiling
I
fan.
wanted a
Yeah.
TV.
Yeah.
And back then it was a big box TV that you
Right.
had to mount. But I had a box TV that was mounted on the wall.
Look at you.
Yeah. So So anyway, let me kind of start from the beginning. Started doing that, and my mom lost it. She's like, "What did you do?"
Kind of like my
Like-
dad when I dug a pond in our yard one
Oh,
day.
yeah.
Yeah.
Because I was just industrious. Well, let's just
Yeah.
build a pond.
Yeah.
Why not?
And
Why not?
so started, tore everything out, clean studs, getting ready to build, and realized I knew nothing. And
You're like,
What now?
yep.
They're
No.
like, well, you can sleep in it the way it is for the
Yeah.
next year.
And I did. I slept. I still like my bed was outside of the room, but I still had some stuff in the room, and so I did use the room even when it was under construction.
That's hilarious.
So I actually got a job. A friend of mine's father, he was a contractor. And my mom and him were friends, and she told him what I had done. So he actually came by and started helping me get on the right track with it. And I started working, and he started coming by once, twice a week just to check up on me.
Nice.
And this was during summer.
Yeah.
So I didn't have school, so I had time to work on it. And he saw the potential in me before I did.
Yeah.
And after about 3-4 weeks of working on my room, he's said to me, hey, you want to come out and make some money so you can pay for the stuff that you're going to put into this room? And I said, yeah. I said, absolutely. It's a job. And he started paying me, and I started working for him. And
that's cool. What's his name?
His name is Igor. He's from Ukraine.
Igor from Ukraine. I love it.
He's got a big handlebar mustache.
Nice.
And he
Dimitri, your room does not look so good.
Yeah.
No, it was. He did fix a lot of my mistakes. He my electrical. I had no idea what I was doing with electrical, so he came by and helped me with the electrical. So months went by, and I completed the room. And my mom lit up when she saw what I did to that room.
That's cool.
So I was already working in construction regularly. Every day I was going to work, and I'd come home, and my mom's like, hey, let's remodel this room. Hey, let's remodel that room.
Let's
do
the
just
whole
started
house.
with the bedrooms, and that's what it ended up being, the whole house.
Good for you.
So I eventually put my hands on the kitchen, all the bathrooms. We did, then Igor at that time calls me up, says, hey, your mom reached out to me. She wants to do siding, windows, and a roof on your new house. Do you want to be the GC on the job?
What? You're like, yeah.
And I said, I don't even know what that is. What do you mean GC?
What do you mean?
He's like, I'm going to give you all the contacts. You're going to make all the phone calls, and you're just going to pull through with this.
There you go.
It's a good learning opportunity for you.
Good for him.
And I did. And I was calling. I'm on the phone. At the time, it was right before we met. So I was 15 on the phone with contractors that scared the daylights out of me.
Yeah, but you're like, you're killing me over here. Why are you not here?
Well, okay, I need you to come out. I need you to look at this. And I'm walking through telling them we want the siding done, we want the windows, soffits, fascias, gutters, roof.
Like, how do
everything.
you even know the words,
Yeah.
right? They're like, you're a 15-year-old kid.
So I don't know,
That's
but
awesome.
I think Igor actually called them and told them, because they were all very gracious with me. And,
Gotcha.
and
They were probably like, yeah. Like,
they didn't just ream me a new one for being a young punk that knows nothing.
right. You don't even have $20, much less.
So
Right.
funny.
Yeah.
Right. So that was my first general contracting
awesome.
experience. And I was like, okay, that was pretty cool. And that house, my parents just sold that house, and everything was the same. They sold it today with the way I had remodeled it from years ago.
That's awesome.
So
I think if you, looking back, the Lord always puts people in our lives that help direct us and change us. And I think we are called to mentor other people. And so, yeah, I think that's cool that he stepped up and said, hey, I'm going to help this guy out. And,
Yeah.
and then look at you now. And then so you're going to pass it forward to the guys you're already training and helping work with that are younger and single. And then, later on, you may meet some kid who decided to rip his room apart, and you just keep carrying it forward, which is cool.
Yeah, and I'm already looking for that. I'm already looking for young guys that are just graduating high school that don't want to go to college. I never went to college. I never had no desire to go to college.
Right.
But I always had money in my pocket.
I think right now, I think the college deal on a lot of levels, it's like a fallacy. Like when I was going to school, they're like, hey, you got to go to college and then you get a job. Got to go to college, you'll get a job. Got to go to college, you got to get a secondary degree of some sort. And if you're going to be a doctor, lawyer, some sort of medical something where the licensing has to happen because, you have to go to college. But if you're if you're not feeling it, I mean, there are so many trades out there that people aren't doing and following up on. And I mean, you can make a bunch of money.
Yeah. And I don't know when trades became not cool.
Right.
Like, I don't know where that disconnect happened.
Well, I think that's where all the colleges were marketing and saying, hey, you got to come to school and become a whatever. Yeah. And, and so that's going to give you the life that you want, right? Yeah. So if you come here, you're going to make $100,000 and do whatever you want to do, as opposed to, oh, you can't work with, working with your hands is bad, because we're not training that at colleges. So just a thought. Yeah. I don't know exactly, but
No, I agree with you. I agree with you.
So, Ridgeline, are you guys licensed in plumbing, contract, like
No,
electrical,
so
all that stuff? Or
we got our general contracting license.
Okay.
We're wrapping it up as we speak.
Okay.
And then we sub out electrical, we sub out some plumbing, and actually we sub out most of the plumbing, and then we sub out the HVAC we sub out, and then concrete we sub out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But all the framing we do in house, and all the finish work we do in house as well.
Yeah, which is an art, I think. Finish work,
Yeah.
trim, crown molding,
Yeah.
door. I mean,
Yep.
just
Drywall finish. Yeah.
it can go really badly, or it can be really, really beautiful. And so you can tell when somebody doesn't know what they're doing for sure.
Yeah.
I think we take for granted when it does look good, you just kind of glaze over it, but you're like, that's actually artwork there.
Yeah. Yeah, you can tell when someone that knows how to mud and tape properly, and just the techniques that they use. Like, okay, this guy's an artist.
Yeah.
Right. Or the trim, and you like look up in the crown molding and use those little block things because they don't know how to miter anything, so they just run it into the block, and they buy the corner block things. It just wears me down. But I digress. So anyway, talk to us about how anything you want to share with our listeners that we haven't covered, like how you can help them in any other ways other than just how do we get in touch with you all?
Well, we have a few different ways. We got our biggest thing has actually been word of mouth. Is we've been just from handing out business cards. We've done a little bit of advertisement. We do have a website. We're on Instagram. We have Facebook for your generation.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate that.
Instagram for
my that Mitch.
Yeah,
You just called me old.
Giggling over there.
And then we got the Instagram.
Hey, I'm still on MySpace. Thank you.
Oh my gosh, funny.
Yeah.
My generation's Instagram. So what's the next generation? What's the generation under us?
Oh, who knows? It's not even made yet.
TikTok.
Oh yeah.
Where are you at? Come on.
You
don't even know what TikTok is.
We don't.
I'm not real
tick
tech
or
savvy.
talk over here. So
are you on the X?
On what?
I don't even know what that means.
That's Twitter. They changed Twitter to the X now.
Oh wow, yeah.
See, look at me.
No, out of the loop.
Oh man,
Instagram, Facebook, that's all. Best way is just to call the office.
Just call the office. What's the office number?
423-270-4881.
Got it.
You will get Mr. Cliff.
Mr. Cliff, the guy who gets to talk to the people.
Yeah.
Yep.
Dimitri does not.
He will.
Well, I meet up with them. Like I'll meet up with them.
And then Dimitri will come to your house with all his brilliant ideas.
That's right. And sometimes Gwen.
And sometimes me, if I'm not, having babies.
There you go. I love it.
Yeah. Best way to get a hold of us is just to call and to have your idea ready and be ready to collaborate because we love it.
Yeah. That's fun.
Yeah. And come up with a budget that you feel comfortable spending on that space. I would say that would be a big portion of it because that gives us a really good idea going into it. Like, okay, we only have $8,000 to work with. What can we do for this $8,000 in this bathroom?
Right. So come up with a budget on the front end.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really helpful.
Gotcha. But the good news is you guys said to stick to the budget, which is nice. So people aren't going to be like, oh, they can go over. Like you could upgrade here if you want, but
we're pretty careful about. We do give some options, but like even if something,
if we set it in stone, then this is
we once you call, we set up a time to meet. We go through the space with you, and then we take the time, usually about 2 weeks, to
write out an actual proposal.
Yeah.
So it's super clear. It has like a proposed payment plan and schedule of when we're going to come and start everything. We try to make it as clear on the front end.
So you don't want all the money up front like the shady guys, right?
No. And we're not going to take your deposit.
I actually don't want your money till we're rocking and rolling.
Yeah,
we actually put in place a payment plan that has been, the customers have
they've loved it.
They've loved it. And
hey, here's the first thing. We're buying materials and they're going to deliver them. And here are the materials.
Right.
Yeah.
It's just super, we try to make everyone feel very taken care of, make sure everything's clear.
Yeah.
So then, once we start, we have had instances where, particularly in Irwin, where houses are a little older, we have gone in to do a bathroom and we end up having to replumb the entire house because pipes are sitting on the ground, just
falling apart.
So, you might run into things like that, but
hopefully the customer understands.
Yeah, and even in that scenario, it's the same thing. It's like, this is your investment. This is your property. We need to make sure it's functioning properly. Are you able to do this? Do you want us to do this? Kind of keeping it conversational and making sure everyone feels taken care of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, speed round.
Speed round.
Favorite place to get a cup of coffee?
Oh, steel rails.
Steel rails.
Steel Rails.
Yeah.
You're going with Irwin. I like it. All right, let's stick with Irwin. What's the favorite pizza joint in Irwin?
I'm from Chicago. I don't eat pizza here.
Yeah.
Sorry, everybody.
Yeah, that's not the right question.
Okay.
That's not the right question.
How about a hamburger? Will you eat a hamburger in Irwin?
Absolutely. Yes, I'll eat anything but pizza.
Where are you going for a hamburger in Irwin?
Where do we go for a hamburger? Honestly, there's not really a great place in Irwin yet.
Okay,
There's a new
so
restaurant
you're getting
coming.
a hamburger. Where are you going?
How about this? We're going to Black Olive.
Oh,
there
we
you go.
do love Black Olive.
Yeah.
We're very big fans. Also, White Duck,
Yeah.
but they're not burger places.
No.
But there's that new one we haven't been to yet across the street from White Duck
Oh,
the fun-
Burger and Barrel.
with the train.
Yeah.
With the whole
They
thing.
got a beer garden out there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that potentially could be a good place to get a burger. Maybe we
Yeah.
can go do that soon.
Gotcha.
Um,
I like it.
there's
Date night for you guys? Where are you going?
Black Olive or White Duck.
Black Olive or White
Yeah.
Duck? I love
Yeah.
it. Oh, yeah, I love White Duck tacos.
Or
So-
thrifting.
Or thrifting.
Thrifting is always a really fun date.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's fun.
That's a fun
Dimitri's like, I go with her, but I really don't like that.
No, I don't mind.
He
I
goes
don't mind.
crazy. He goes.
'Cause-
He gets,
So I have this fly rod. I try to fly. I want to say I fly fish, but
Yeah.
I suck at it.
You go out there and try and slap them.
Yeah, I try to slap the water a little bit.
Okay.
But like I found this really cool vintage fly rod in one of these places. I
Oh.
use it all the time, and I get compliments on it all the time.
They're like,
They're like, "Hey, that's pretty cool. Where'd you get that?"
I got it at the Goodwill
$20
for
bucks.
20,
Yeah.
20 bucks.
Yeah.
I love it. That's awesome. All right. This one's it could be for both of you. You're stranded on an island by yourself. What tool? What's the one
oh
tool
my gosh.
you're gonna take with you? This is like Survivor.
Dimitri's second favorite dedicated thing. I don't know. Maybe not second. He loves talking about survival.
Okay. So what's your one tool?
Loves-
Well,
This is a hint for
I think if I was to bring one thing, it would be a bucket of nails.
bucket of nails.
And nails. I wouldn't bring any tools.
Oh,
A
I
bucket
like
of nails.
this.
If I had to pick one,
I like this thought. Okay.
yeah, that's
Because you can make your tools.
'Cause you can
because I
build-
can make my tools. Yeah.
Yeah.
I can make my tools, but it would be easier to instead of having to try to figure out how to twine stuff. You got
Yeah.
you
got nails.
16 penny nails and go to town.
Coated.
Coated.
So I can
yes.
get the bamboo to stick together.
That's right.
If I could bring one thing with me, I would bring you
Ah,
for a lot of reasons, but
I-
also survival.
I
Because
love it. I love it.
I'm the perfect tool.
yeah, because
That came out of your mouth.
you
I
are
heard.
not. I said one thing. I didn't
Oh,
want it to
man.
sound like that. You are very smart and
I love it. I love
very
it. Well,
resourceful.
I think that's a good spot to end on. Unless you guys have anything else you want to share, but I think we're
I have one shameless plug. We're always looking to expand our team.
okay. Cool.
So
yeah,
if-
you're looking for people that can know what a hammer is.
Yes.
Yeah, open mind. Well, yeah, someone that hidden talent that people don't want to jump into construction or because
Yeah.
they've never been in construction but they enjoy doing the work.
Yeah.
There's a spot for guys like that on our team, but there's
Yep.
also a spot for a guy who's been doing it for 20 years that knows
Totally.
exactly what he's doing and doesn't need
Yeah.
much-
Where's the
much help
future
in
of
there.
Ridgeline? What do you see? How do you see it growing?
That's you, babe.
So I see the future of Ridgeline becoming a contracting company that takes on a job from start to finish, where we don't have to outsource any of
So you're
the
looking for the
trades.
licensed plumber.
I'm looking for
electrician, all those
Yeah.
guys.
Yep.
Okay.
To have them all in house, and we
Yeah.
don't need to have the biggest crew of them. But when a contractor just doesn't show up,
Right.
that schedule show up,
It screws
the
you
customer
up.
never has to panic because we
Gotcha.
have in-house guys to
Yeah.
wrap
because
up
that
the
throws
job.
off your timeline.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. So that's my overall vision, is to have a very well-rounded company to where we have a little bit of every trade.
Yep.
We can still do the general contracting where we're having other contractors work, but if anything ever slipped up and didn't work out, our guys can take care of it.
How far out do you go? Like, what's your radius? Are you doing stuff in Bristol, Kingsport?
So I'm used to driving 2 hours for a commute
Man,
from Illinois.
you'll do
So-
stuff in
so
Knoxville.
to me, hour and a half ain't no problem.
Yeah.
Not a big deal.
It's
Ain't no
usually
problem.
about an hour,
Yeah.
Yeah.
but yeah.
But we've been, between Johnson City and all the small towns in between.
You're like,
Unicoi,
yeah,
Gwen.
I think,
Yeah.
you can stay so busy.
Yeah.
It's not, you wouldn't even, have to drive more than 20 minutes probably.
Yeah.
And then last question, how far out are you guys booking? So if somebody's listening to the podcast right now,
Mhm.
they call you all, when can they expect you in there tearing out their cabinets?
Both. Now we do have a lot pending, so like I might say
A
this
lot
right now, but I
pending.
might get to the office in about an hour and be like, yeah, man, we booked up for the rest of the year.
Yeah.
But right now, both crews are available at the end of October. No.
Yeah.
We're already booked out through October, so November, beginning of November.
1st of November.
Both crews are available.
That's awesome. So,
Yeah.
That's great. Cool. Well, I pray your business just really continues to flourish. You guys seem like an awesome couple that are just really, your heart's to help people.
Yeah.
And to take care of them and to take care of your crew and just enjoy our area and maybe start a pizza joint because we don't have good pizza here.
Lou
so.
Malnati's.
I've thought about it. I've thought about it.
Whole franchise.
I know people.
I know people. We'll
Y'all
bring them
haven't-
down here. We'll sell them a house and
Yeah.
a little restaurant.
I like it.
Y'all
I like
haven't
it.
lived till you had Lou Malnati's pizza.
What's it called?
Lou Malnati's.
Lou.
It's a guy's.
Lou Malnati. It's kind of like
It's
Illuminati,
Italian
but it's
name.
not. It's Lou
Yeah.
Malnati.
Lou is his first name.
Or-
Malnati's is his last name. And
Giorgio's.
Giorgio's is good too.
That's kind of a more of a
Deep
franchise,
dish,
but it's
Chinese
different.
food.
It's different.
Chicago style.
And then
Chicago
we
style.
got Gino East. Is
Yeah.
another good one. Nepali's.
I feel like you guys are going to get in the truck and drive to Chicago for lunch. So we got to go.
Oh, it's
Well,
Maybe
someday I'll
want some
just,
pizza.
someday I'll just get on my jet and fly over and have a slice.
Now we're cooking. I like
that's
it.
his life goal. I'm like, okay.
It's really not. I like to joke about it.
I'm like, I just want a cabin in the woods. And-
Yeah, and he's like, I want a jet so I can go get me some pizza.
Yeah.
I love it. Well, thank you guys so much for coming on the podcast. It was such a pleasure getting to know you guys, and I enjoyed our conversation. I'm sure our listeners did as well. And until next time, I'm Colin Johnson with the Colin and Carly Group. If you want to come to Johnson City, Irwin, and meet this lovely couple, I'd love to introduce you. If you're looking to buy a home, sell a home, invest in real estate, that's what I do, and love helping people build wealth through that. And connecting them with great resources like you guys. So you're going to be on my list to say, hey, if you need a new kitchen,
Awesome.
call Ridgeline.
Awesome.
Appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Oh, thank you guys, and I wish you the best.
Thanks.
Awesome.
Have a great
Likewise.
day.
Thank you.
Thanks.